Today's episode of Coffee in the Car with Jim the Real Estate Agent is coming to you from none other than Riverside, neighborhood on the east side of Toronto that we really love. We've placed a lot of clients here. And the coffee is coming from Balzac's. And yes, I know I've been there before. You've seen Balzac's before. And don't instant message me to let me know that we've already done it. I love Balzac's. So just deal with it. And check out Balzac's. My favorite one is the one at Market Street across from St. Lawrence Market. What we're talking about today are the three biggest mistakes that we see home buyers make time and time again. And if you avoid these three mistakes, I promise you, your first time home buying experience will be much less stressful. Mistake number one is many first time home buyers go out and look at properties before they figured out their finances. And here's why that is a huge mistake. It just sets you up for so much disappointment because inevitably you fall in love with a type of property that is at a price point that you're not going to be able to afford. And then it's very hard to roll back your preferences when you have a wake-up call when the bank says, well, actually your maximum mortgage is $400,000 and you have been looking at properties that are selling for $700,000. Remember that show Sandra Rinomata had years ago where she'd take out the newbies and inevitably they would be in a neighborhood like the Beach and she'd ask, how much do you think the house is? And they'd say $350,000 and it would turn out it was $800,000 or $900,000. So don't set yourself up for disappointment. Don't go looking at properties until you've figured out your financing. That brings us to point number two, financing. I know that you think, as did I, that my bank, since I was a little kid, loved me. And we thought that because when we were little, we took our little piggy bank in and we opened up a checking account because they would give mom a new blender for free. And it seems like the bank really, really loves us. But I have a harsh reality for you, and that is that the bank doesn't love you. And it doesn't love me either. The banks don't care about you and me. So going to your bank to get a mortgage, while it's possible, might work out well, I highly recommend that instead you seek out the services of a professional mortgage broker. And there are a few reasons for that. Number one, a mortgage broker doesn't make a penny off of you, generally, unless they successfully find you a mortgage. A mortgage broker shops you out to not just one lender, but maybe 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 lenders. And so they are typically able to get, if not the best rate, definitely the best terms, and to help you to understand the benefits of one bank's lending program versus another. Because it isn't just about the interest rate, it's about penalties and it's about prepayment privileges and all sorts of things. So that's step number two. Don't make the mistake of going to your bank that you've been with since you were 12 years old thinking that they love you, because they don't. Go to a mortgage broker. And point number three, we mentioned this one because we see this time and time again where it's exciting process of buying your first home, maybe your first condo. And so it might be your inclination to talk to everybody that you know and ask for advice. So you talk to your family and you talk to your Uncle Larry and you talk to your Uncle Bill, and everyone seems to be an expert and they all have advice for you and all of it conflicts. Why is that? Because Uncle Larry hasn't bought real estate since 1976, and yet somehow he's an expert on Toronto real estate. Somehow he knows neighborhoods and prices and everything else. And it's something that's always fascinated me as a real estate agent, is that it's one subject where a very large percentage of the population seem to think that they are experts because they bought one or two properties over a period of 10 or 20 or 30 years. So rather than putting yourself up to be really confused and stressed out, can I suggest that you maintain a few people who have experience with real estate as your advisors, your confidants, and find yourself a real estate agent who educates you, who knows the market, who you feel comfortable with, who you know will represent your best interests. It will make the whole process smoother. So thanks for tuning in for this episode. Please check out our friends over at Balzac's and have a great one.